Okay, this is your 3.5 video. It's due in class on Monday, or the notes rather are due in class on Monday. 3.5 and 3.6, the rest of chapter 3 is very heavy algebra focused, so that should be good for a lot of us because your algebra grades were very good. Okay, so the slope of a line in a coordinate plane is a number that describes the steepness of the line. The steepness of the line. Okay, it also tells you the direction. Is it going up or down? And then how steep is it? So a big slope is very steep, and a fraction slope is less steep, up 1/4. Okay, any 2 points on a line can be used to determine the slope. Okay, so here we have your chart that you need to fill a few things out on. The rise is the difference in the y values. We say difference as delta y, change in y's. And the run is the difference in the x values, so delta x. And for slope, you know, we calculate slope as rise over run, which in big boy terms is change in y over change in x, rise over run. So the slope of a line, if you have 2 coordinate points, you can plug them in and use the slope formula. y2 minus y1 equals x over x2 minus x1. And this formula is fine, and you can have this formula. And I'll show you in a second. I usually just tell you to think about it. How much did the y's change over how much did the x's change? Because people can get lost in the formula. So here's an example from a graph over here where you can actually count rise over run. You turn it into a right triangle and you count, oh, I went 6 up and I went 4 over. So my rise was 6 over 4 and then reduced 3 over 2. Remember, in any fraction, if 0 is in the numerator, the top, so it can be like 0 over 5 or 0 over -6, the answer is 0. If 0 is in the denominator, like 4 over 0 or -2 over 0, the answer is undefined. You're not allowed to divide by 0, so that's undefined. Okay? Alright, so we're going to count slope for these first 4. Since we're using a graph, we'll just count rise over run. So we're going to make this into a right triangle. Rise up 2, run over 5. So your slope is 2/5. Okay. CD, this is a vertical line because it's going straight up and down. So you can count your rise from C to D if you want to. It doesn't really matter. Is 8, rise up 8, run over 0. We just talked about anytime 0 is in the denominator, that is undefined. Okay, pause here and do C and D. Okay, so C would be rise up 0, run over 3, and if 0 is in the top, that is just 0. And D would be down 4, over 4, down 4, over 4 would be a slope of -1. Okay. Alright, so let's try the slope of a line through 2 points. This is where you're either going to use the slope formula, or I was telling you we're just going to use change in y over change in x, and we're just going to think it through. So the y's are here. From 1 to -1, what happened? We went down 2. And from 3 to 2, what happened? We went down 1. So we did our change in y over our change in x. And then we just simplify. Okay, you try the second one. Okay, so from 4 to 0, we went down 4. From 5 to 2, -5 to 2, we went up 7. So our slope is -4 over 7. No, Keller. Okay, summary of a slope of a line. So if it's going up, it's positive. Down, it's negative. Straight across is a 0 slope, and straight up and down is an undefined slope. Okay, this is a horizontal line that has a 0 slope, and this straight up and down is a vertical line with an undefined slope. Okay, we're going to talk more about how to write equations of vertical and horizontal, but I just want to That's Keller. I just want you to remind you, or to show you an easy way to do it, is to think, which axis does it cross and where does it cross? So if it crosses the x-axis at 2, then you write the equation x equals 2. If it crosses over the y-axis at -5, then you say y equals -5. Okay, so here we're going to determine the equation for each line and identify the slope. So, which axis does it cross? It crosses the y-axis. And where does it cross? It crosses at -2. I seem to have a little monster pulling my paper. This one, which axis does it cross? It crosses, oh, we didn't do the slope here. So any slope of any horizontal line is always going to be 0. So the slope here is 0. So this one is a vertical line, and even though it looks like it is on top of the y-axis, and it is, it's who does it cross over? So it crosses over the x-axis, and where does it cross? It crosses at x is equal to 0. Okay, so horizontal lines have a y equals, vertical lines have an x equals. And we learned up here that vertical lines have an undefined slope because you would be dividing by 0. So, undefined. Okay, try the third one. Okay, the third one is y equals 1, and it would have a 0 slope. I swear this video will never get made. I will tell you about it on Monday. Okay, parallel lines and perpendicular lines. In a coordinate plane, two non-vertical lines are parallel if and only if they have the same slope. So, you know parallel lines are parallel because they're never going to run into each other. Well, what makes them not run into each other is the fact that they have the same slope. They're going up, up, up by the same amount, so they're never going to touch each other. Okay? Also, any two vertical lines have to be parallel. Same with any two horizontal lines have to be parallel. So anytime you see y equals 2 and y equals 5, two horizontal lines automatically parallel. Okay, anytime you see x equals 3 and x equals -4, two vertical lines automatically parallel. Okay. Perpendicular lines. These, any two perpendicular lines are if and only if the product of their slopes is -1. Now, I'll show you what that means, but really that's not how we use it. We say that their slopes are opposite reciprocals. Okay, opposite means they have different signs. Reciprocals means you flip the fraction. So if you have 3/4, then that's positive. So the opposite is negative. You had 3/4, so the reciprocal is 4/3. Okay, and now you can see what I mean by when you multiply them, it's -1. 3/4 times -4/3 would be -1. So that's just a check to make sure you did it right. Okay. Any vertical line is automatically perpendicular with any horizontal line. So if you see x equals 2 and y equals 5, these are automatically perpendicular because one's vertical and one's horizontal. Okay, let's do some examples. Okay, find the slope of each line to determine if they are parallel or perpendicular. So here's where just counting the slope, changing y over changing x, is faster than doing the formula. So the y's from 1 to -2, that went down 3. The x's from 3 to 3, nothing happened. So that would be an undefined slope. That's a vertical line right there. It's actually x equals 3 if you're keeping track. Okay. Then our y's. From 3 to 3, nothing happened. From -2 to 4, we went up 6. So that is a 0 slope, which we know is a horizontal line. That's actually y equals 3 if you're keeping up. So anytime we have a vertical line and a horizontal line, they are automatically going to be perpendicular. So our answer to this one is perpendicular. Okay, let's try B. From 4 to -3, we went down 7. From -4 to -2, we went up 2. Okay, over here. From 1 to -1, we went down 2. And from 3 to -5, oh my gosh, yeah, from 3 to -5, we went down 8. Okay? Honestly, I probably meant to have that 7, so just so you could see, but I didn't, so we'll go with it. Okay? So this one's 1/4, and this one is -7/2. So nothing happens there. They are neither, because they're not the same, and they're not opposite reciprocals. Okay, y'all try C, and then come back. Okay, so C, from 1 to 5, we went up 4. From 1 to 3, we went over 4, so that's 1. From -6 to 4, we went up 10. From -2 to 3, we went over 5. So that's 2. This one's 1. This one's 2. So that is neither. Let me double check. 4. How about from 1 to 3 is down 2? Really? My life is having a hard time here. Okay, this is why I shouldn't do these on Friday afternoon. From 6 to 4 is +10. From -2 to +3 is 5. I'm trying to decide if that's what it is or if I can't even think straight. 1 to 5 is 4. Oh my gosh. Okay. Okay, so 2 and 2 is parallel because they have the same slope. Hopefully you got that right the very first time and you don't have to be like your teacher and do it 3 times to get it right. Okay, see y'all tomorrow.